charmers, northerly 15 knots, tending westerly 20 knots for a time this afternoon, and sea becoming moderate for a time. Southwest 12, rising to 2 metres offshore. And the outlook for charmers, northwest 15 knots, changing Wednesday afternoon, southwest 30 knots, and easing Wednesday night to 20 knots north of Otago Peninsula, rising early Thursday to 40 knots in the south, and early Friday to 35 knots. Rising to 25 knots this evening, the sea becoming rough, southwest swell 1 metre, the outlook for realizada. Northwest 15 knots, changing Wednesday afternoon, southwest 20 knots, and turning early Thursday, northwest 15 knots, changing late Thursday, southwest 15 knots, but 25 knots offshore. Conway, variable 10 knots, northerly 15 knots, developing early morning, and then tending westerly this evening. Sea slight, southwest swell 1 metre, northeast swell 1 metre dying out. So the outlook for Conway, northwest 15 knots, changing Wednesday night, southwest 20 knots, turning early Thursday, northwest 15 knots, changing late Thursday, southwest 20 knots. Friday, northwest 55 knots, changing late Friday, southwest 50 knots with high sea. Finally, for the Chatham Islands, southwest 30 knots, easing to westerly 20 knots this afternoon. Very rough sea easing, northwest swell rising 3 metres for a time, southwest swell 2 metres, visibility and rain clearing this morning. The outlook for the Chatham Islands, rising Wednesday afternoon, northwest 25 knots, easing Wednesday night 15 knots, changing early Thursday, southwest 35 knots, and changing late Thursday, northwest, then rising late Friday to 35 knots with very rough sea. The moderate northwest swell times, the moderate southwest swell developing on Tuesday. And that's the New Zealand coastal weather forecast. If you're out and about on waves. Radio New Zealand International, World and Pacific News. I'm Nicola Wright. Leading this bulletin and world news, freight crashes, and in Pacific News, good morning, Freelander Sailor. Preliminary results from the national election in the Marshall Islands are expected later this morning. Clashes have again erupted in the Egyptian capital as security forces continue to clear Cairo's Suffering Square as protesters. Protesters fear the interim military government is trying to keep its grip on power ahead of parliamentary elections planned to begin next week. Instead of standing above the political fray, the Army Cabinet has enraged politicians by proposing principles for the new constitution that would free the Army from civilian oversight and broad national security powers. One minister has resigned in protest at the handling of the latest unrest. At least 20 people are reported to have died since the violence began on Saturday, and hundreds more been injured. Britain has imposed new financial sanctions on Iran, ordering all British financial institutions to stop doing business with their Iranian counterparts and with the Central Bank of Iran. Britain's Finance Ministry says the sanctions are in response to the International Atomic Energy Agency's latest report on Iran, which highlights further concerns about the possible military dimensions of Iran's nuclear program. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, says Iran poses a serious threat to national security. He says Britain is also responding to calls for countries to protect their financial sector from the risks of money laundering and terrorism financing emanating from Iran. Talks in Washington aimed at cutting the United States government's borrowing are on the verge of failure. A congressional super committee has been charged with finding $1.2 trillion in savings to avoid automatic spending cuts. Talks between Democrats and Republicans are widely reported to have collapsed.